Hi, I'm Drayton Nay, and thanks for joining me right here on YouTube. Now, I know some of you may know me from TikTok, and yes, this is my first show on YouTube. But if you haven't seen me on TikTok yet, please go over to TikTok and follow me on there. But now that you're here, please make sure you like and subscribe because I want to grow this YouTube channel and I can't wait to get started. And I'm getting started right now, right here with you. So let's get ready and talk about our first show right now. Let me give you some background. I started in real estate in 1975. Now, you're probably saying 1975? What were you doing in 1975? Well, on Sundays, a buddy of mine would go around and we would dig the holes for real estate signs on Sunday. And we got $5 per sign. Yeah, can you imagine $5 back in 1975? And if we put in, I don't know, 12, 15 signs, we would make 60, 75 bucks split two ways. You know, let me tell you something. That meant I had a $20 bill in my hand. In 1975, if you had a $20 bill in your hand, you would swear you were absolutely rich. I promise you. But that wasn't my only job. Later on, I was working at March Realty in Willingboro, New Jersey. And one of my other jobs was we used to pull the listings off this wonderful machine called a fax machine. Yeah. And we would pull it off the fax, and then I would stick in colored pins. You know the pins with the little round balls? Yeah, a yellow one meant the house was pending. A green one meant the house was still for sale, and a red one meant the house was sold. So that was my very first experience in real estate. Now, I bought my first, it was 1984 when I bought my first rental property. I lived in it for a little while, and then I started renting it out. And it was a really nice house right there in, it was northern Columbus, Ohio. So it was right on Smoky Row Road, I believe. And it was a bi-level, had a fenced-in backyard, 2-car garage, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, an office downstairs, and a fireplace. I mean, it was a nice house. And it cost me $68,000 in 1984. Yeah, $68,000. So I think my house payment was just a little over $600. I think my interest rate was 10.25, if I remember correctly, or right around there. So I kind of fell in love with real estate from the very beginning, because what I really liked about real estate and what I like today about real estate is the deal, the making of the deal. Doesn't matter whether I'm buying or selling. I just like the deal. And that's really what I want to talk about in this show. If you notice, you'll see my background. I got a little board up there. I might put a subject up there, every day. I want you to know I battled long and hard with, first I started to do this show in front of a swimming pool. And that because if you watch YouTube, you see, all kinds of real estate guys doing all kinds of things, walking around and doing all. It's just not me. I like to feel like I'm talking one-on-one. I like to feel like, you're sitting right across from me and I'm talking to you. So my format is probably going to be a little different than most because I'm not going to have any really fancy backgrounds. I guess from time to time, I'm going to take you on location with me. I'm going to actually take you to flips that I do because I'm currently flipping houses in Las Vegas. So from time to time, I'll take you on site. I'll describe what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing, and some of the insights on real estate that I've learned over the decades. Because whether you're buying or selling, there's little tricks that you need to know. There's little nuances that it's not in any book. A lot of the things that I'll be talking about, you're not going to find in a book anywhere. And that's just because I have done thousands and thousands of transactions. I also wholesale and have wholesaled real estate for years and years and years and years. So I have a whole different philosophy on how to actually wholesale real estate. I actually wrote a book on it. So I have a very different method on how to go about wholesaling real estate. So I hope, in the process of this show, you'll get to understand. I'm going to give you a little bit more of the nitty gritty. There's not going to be any fancy backgrounds or anything else like that. It's going to be basically you and me having a one-on-one conversation, because it's kind of what I'm comfortable with. I want to feel like I'm talking directly to you and that I'm passing information directly to you. And that leads me up to a lot of people say to me, where do you get your information? Well, I'll let you in on something else. I used to be a stockbroker. I was one of the youngest stockbrokers in the country back in the 80s. I passed my Series 7 when I was 22 years old and started working for Shearson Lehman American Express. And I learned a lot doing that. I learned a lot being a stockbroker. But the reason I've stopped doing it is because I became a slave to information. But I also at the same time learned how to gather information, and that's what I do now. Because believe me, you're not going to, if you watch YouTube, you already know there are plenty of people out there that do stats and have go through their show and go through this stat, that stat. That's not me. If you notice, most of the people doing real estate shows are real estate agents. And they're giving you a biased perspective, in my opinion, because they're real estate agents. I'm not a real estate agent, never have been, never will be. And in the next part of the second part of this show, I will be discussing the biggest news to happen in real estate probably in decades. But first, I wanted to give you some idea of where I'm coming from. You're not going to get a bunch of stats from me. I will tell you, from time to time where I get a bit of information from, but I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time going through every little thing I do to gather the information that I do, because I've done it over a 40-year period. So it's one of those things where it's just, there's little nuances, there's experience, there's looking in the tea leaves a little bit, as crazy as that sounds, but I follow oil prices, lumber prices. I mean, there's little things and indications out there that can give you a real good idea of what's going on with real estate. But I have found the best way to really understand real estate is to be doing real estate, to really be on the ground. I'm on the ground here in Las Vegas. And I know what's going on in Las Vegas. I feel it because I'm on the ground and I'm working it. I know what works in real estate in Vegas, and I know what doesn't work. Because when I sell my flips, on average, I sell my flips in just 14 days. And that's true even right now. The one I just sold, just probably 3 days ago, we sold in 17 days in this quote unquote tough market. So hang with me. You have some background now on exactly how I work and how I function, and we'll talk more about it later. But let's get on to what I really want to talk about, and that is the big changes coming up in real estate compensation amongst realtors and real estate agents. Let's get into that right now. All right, let's talk about real estate and real estate commissions, because that's probably the biggest news to hit in years and years and years. And if you know me from TikTok, or if you know me from other real estate circles, you know I've been complaining about real estate compensation forever. And I've been complaining about it because it doesn't make any sense. It never has made any sense, and I've never understood. You mean I'm selling the property and you want me to pay a buyer's agent that I don't know, that I didn't hire, and is working against me? That makes no sense whatsoever. That's a scam. And I've always said it was a scam. And now, if you've read in the paper, or in case you've been on a different planet, basically that whole case went up in front of the court, went in front of jurors, and it took them 2 hours to figure out, yeah, it's a scam. It's an absolute scam how these real estate agents are paid. And they found that real estate agents have conspired. That's right, conspired to have consumers spend way too much money. So it was one of those things like, because here I've been saying it and saying it and saying it for years and years and years and years. And finally it gets in front of a jury and the jury goes, yeah, scam. And I can't tell you what the past couple of days have been like for me. I'm like, finally, we can do something about consumers getting ripped off by real estate agents. And, I know that's a controversial thing to say. What do you mean ripped off? You have to understand, I'm of the belief, and you're not going to hear this probably anywhere else on YouTube because, like I said, most of the other people on YouTube are real estate agents. But real estate agents don't do anything. They're just in the middle of a transaction where they don't need to be, because there's transactions that happen each and every day with no real estate agent. And you know what? You know how they happen? Easily. Oftentimes, all you need is an attorney. That's right. When you talk about legal documents, you shouldn't be dealing with a salesman. You should be dealing with an expert in legal documents, and that's an attorney. Okay? I want you to understand all the time, real estate agents get sued. And the real estate agents get sued for various reasons. And a lot of those reasons include not doing their job. Okay? But in all the years that I've used a lawyer at closing to go over my paperwork and go over everything, not one time has an attorney been sued. But real estate agents, they are sued all the time. So I'm not a big advocate of using real estate agents. I think real estate agents are a thing of the past. I think just like the jurors felt, real estate agents have been ripping off the consumer, and whether you need to buy a house or sell a house, you don't need a real estate agent for any reason whatsoever. You just, in this day and age, you just don't. And what I would advocate for, and I've already talked about it, I would advocate for just their city by city, just having a buyer's board, literally a buyer's board, where you just, if you're in, let's say Las Vegas, and you have the Las Vegas buyer's board. And if I'm a buyer, all I do is I say, hey, I want to be in 89052. I want 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and I have a loan approved for $700,000. I'm all ready to go. I'm approved. Here's my loan number. Here's the phone number to my loan officer, and you post it right on the board. And now people that are selling homes look at it and go, look, there's a buyer right there. I have a house for sale, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. In the price range he wants. I'm going to contact him and see if we can work out a deal. To me, that's really, in a nutshell, just how simple it is. Forget about, you need a listing agent, you need to list on MLS. No, you don't need to list on MLS. You need a buyer's board. That's what everybody cares about. No one cares what houses are for sale. Everybody cares about, is there a buyer? Is there a buyer for a particular house? So city by city by city, you should just set up buyer's boards. And the buyers can just put their information right there on the board. And sellers, people that are selling their house can look right at it and go, hey, let me negotiate with that buyer. Because the person in control is the buyer. The buyer's the one with the money, And I just think that's a simpler way to do it, because real estate agents want to get the seller's money. Because this is my firm belief, my absolute firm belief. If you're a buyer and you want to hire a buyer's agent, that's fine. Go ahead. Pay him. Pay him right now. The second you hire him, pay him. If you think that buyer's agent is valuable, if you think that buyer's agent is necessary, pull out your checkbook and pay him. Otherwise, don't use a buyer's agent, because it's not the responsibility of the seller to pay your buyer's agent. It's not in any way, shape, fashion, or form. So don't ask them to. Do you understand? If you want to buy a house, get a lawyer. A lawyer is about $1,000. That's what a lawyer costs. About $1,000 to look over your paperwork and help you out. If you don't have $1,000, you are not ready to buy a house. Do you understand? It's really that simple. Look, real estate agents for years have been taking advantage of the fact that we can do all this dealing, and nobody has to write a check. The seller doesn't have to write a check. The buyer doesn't have to write a check. You know, us agents can get paid and nobody has to actually write us a check. Well, guess what? I got news for real estate agents. Not only did jurors find that they're conspiring, against consumers, but I want real estate agents to realize this, okay? They have found that by conspiring or committing an unlawful act, those monies are unlawfully gained monies. So I don't want to break your heart or anything, but if you're a real estate agent and you've been working for a brokerage, you think the brokerage is going to pay all those billions of dollars? Or do you think the brokerage is going to come after you and your money? Think about it. Remember, 3 shows every week. Look for me on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's right. Make sure you hit the notification. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure you know that every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm coming into your home and teaching you a little bit more about real estate. And who knows? Like I said, that other 20%, you don't know what I'm going to do.